Good evening, everyone. It's 7:02, and we are going to reconvene the regular meeting of the Glendora Unified School District Board of Trustees. We have no reportable action from closed session, and may we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Member Garcia? Here. Clerk Cam?
Present.
Member Munoz?
Present.
Vice President Lopez?
Here.
President Clifford?
Present. Thank you. We have a full house tonight. The next item is 3.3, the Pledge of Allegiance. Diego, would you mind leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. 3.5 is adoption of the agenda. May I have a motion for the agenda, please?
A motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Item next is 3.6, public comment. You guys have filled out the cards and read the expectation of public comment. So we will start that right now. I have 3 cards in front of me. The first one is Neil Posen. Thank you, Neil.
Members of the board, thank you so much. Neil Polson, he, him. I'm from Covina, just down the street, very far down the street, down Grand, but quick drive down here today. They're elected city treasurer, and I also happen to be a lifetime member of the Freedom from Religion Foundation. So none of that, not here speaking on anyone's behalf today, but I was, I guess, surprised to learn from them that you guys had been doing prayer, but then glad to see that you stopped it. So many, especially in public settings like this, try and interject prayer or things like that where it's just not appropriate. Up to 30% and probably more in Los Angeles County are secular people like me who don't have any particular religion. And then if you start getting into the other 60 to 70% of people who do, and trying to pick the right one only becomes a nightmare. So I support the council's decision, or not the council, I'm sorry. I support your decision to end the prayer. I thank you for making this a more inclusive meeting and available to people like myself. Thank you again so much.
Thank you, Neil. The next card is from Mike Barron. Good evening, Mr. Barron.
Good evening, School Board Trustees, Superintendent DeGrazia, and staff. Appreciate the opportunity to speak this evening, and I want to thank Dr. Prince for putting the Ethnic Studies curriculum on the agenda for this evening. It's very much appreciated. It's important. Since I won't be able to comment immediately after the presentation, I did want to, in advance, review quickly some of the issues that I brought forward at the December school board meeting. The teachers committee that is tasked with putting together the final curriculum, they're tasked with curating, collaborating, and creating the necessary elements of the curriculum. And I asked the question, what has been the teachers committee strategy for deciding what to include and what to exclude from this curriculum? What feedback from the Parents Committee has been included in the development of the Ethnic Studies curriculum? Have their concerns been addressed? I also asked how far along the development process the Teachers Committee was in their task, 25% complete, 50%, 75%. And finally, I asked how much of the currently proposed curriculum is taken directly from the California State Model Curriculum, as that is a highly suspect, in my opinion, curriculum. In the Ethnic Studies curriculum presentation tonight, I hope it will be addressed, or the following issues will be addressed. Will the curriculum define and judge students based on skin color rather than character and behavior? Will the curriculum divide students into victims and oppressors so that they can see what has happened in history? Will they pit students against each other or equate capitalism with racism? These are things that are unacceptable to me and to many in the community. Will this curriculum glorify Marxist and Maoist governments while ignoring their oppression and the millions that those philosophies and ideologies killed? Will they romanticize violent role models while dismissing civil rights leaders such as Martin Luther King as passive and docile? That strategy that either puts information into the curriculum or puts it outside of the curriculum will determine whether those things that are unacceptable are going to be part of the curriculum that you're going to vote on. So in my opinion, the proposed ethnic studies curriculum should build bridges of understanding, confront racism, acknowledge the bad that has happened in our country, but without denigrating different groups. We need to celebrate ethnic accomplishments and expose students to multiple perspectives. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. The next speaker is Mr. Gene Lopez. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, the board and staff. My name is Gene. I have a daughter who is a senior in high school, and another daughter who graduated from Glendora High School and is in Australia right now, so we miss her dearly. So I'm also, I am part of the Community Committee on Ethnic Studies, and I was a little surprised to learn that an overview would be on the agenda today for the Ethnic Studies program. I was hoping we would have the committee would have had at least one more review of the draft curriculum so that we could give some more of our input. In the meantime, I've been doing some other studying, and I've been given information about comparative cultures ethnic studies curriculum that was created by the comparative cultures ethnic studies curriculum. And in their overview, if I can read this, from its earliest days, America has been a vibrant melting pot of ethnicity, religion, and culture. Since then, our country has grown exponentially, not only from sea to shining sea, but also in population and diversity. Within this curriculum that I don't know that we've reviewed yet are 8 different units, beginning with an introduction, reviewing Native Americans, Latino Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, Jewish Americans, and white Americans. I think, and it follows up with a summary or a conclusion. But in the current curriculum, while we have 5 studies around those first 5 cultures, white Americans aren't included in this model curriculum that we're currently reviewing. I think it needs to be. And so I urge you, and I left on my submission card to speak tonight a link to the independent organization publication on ethnic studies. If it could be shared, and if you have a few minutes, it's 6 pages, probably a 20-minute read, to review this curriculum and ask, can this be introduced? Can we include this curriculum into what we're currently reviewing? I think it's important. I think that it kind of goes outside of the study that we've been currently reviewing right now that's been developed by LA County Office of Education. So please, I urge you, take a look at this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll share this card. I'll have it shared with the board
Thanks.
and with the executive staff. Tracy, if you wouldn't mind making copies for that, not now, but we can get it tomorrow. All right, thank you very much. I have no more speaker cards, so I will close the public comment section. Thank you very much. And we will move on to student board member report. Very important. Diego, this is your moment to shine.
LaFetra Elementary. LaFetra has been busy in 2025. Here's a look at what we've been up to. Talent show. Our students spent January preparing, and last Friday's talent show was fantastic. We have so much talent at LaFetra. Awards Recognition Assembly. This was our second assembly honoring students for outstanding academics and behavior. 4th grade field trip. Our 4th graders enjoyed a field trip to San Juan Capistrano Mission. 100th day of school. Our TK and kindergartners showed off their skills on the 100th day of school. Oh my, how much they have grown. Muffins with ladies. Students and their special guests enjoyed a morning together. Draw Along Assembly, a fun and interactive event for our students. Sellers Elementary. Students returned from winter break refreshed and ready to learn, bringing great energy into the new year. Our fourth graders had 2 fantastic learning experiences this month. They visited the Irvine Railroad Station where they panned for gold and explored California's rich history. They also participated in Walk Through California, an engaging presentation focused on the missions and the state's historical landmarks. Our youngest learners in TK and kindergarten celebrated the 100th day of school, marking a fun milestone filled with activities recognizing their growth and achievements. Additionally, our student council organized a bake sale to support wildfire victims, demonstrating incredible leadership and compassion. Their hard work raised approximately $1,200, a true testament to the generosity of our school community. As we move forward, we are excited for the months ahead and grateful for the continued support from our families, staff, and community. Goddard Middle School. ASB had its winter rally on February 7th. The rally was held at the end of the school year, or end of the school day, just prior to basketball athletes boarding the bus. ASB honored perfect attendance, students of the month, Goddard Way winners, and basketball players. On Thursday, January 23rd, the Student Voice Council met to share ideas about how to improve Goddard. Students mentioned increasing recycling, bigger lunch portions, and putting holiday lights on the trees. Earlier this month, Avid and ASB collected hygiene items to support the Altadena fire victims. Students brought items to the Avid and Science classrooms, and Ms. Phillips transported the items to Pasadena. ASB had a fundraiser on Thursday, February 6th, at the Chick-fil-A in the Glendora Commons. Money will be used to supplement ASB activities for students. Basketball season is in full swing. All 4 teams are having good years, and all the students are having fun. Wickham High School. Events on campus. Wickham is happy to announce the return of Mr. Love on January 27th after being away on active duty for 9 months. We had a very nice flag ceremony where district leaders attended along with board member Dr. KM. We are happy to have Julie Shire join the Wildcat family. She is our new counselor and is supporting our students academically and supporting special events. We had VIPs visiting our campus last week. Dr. Prince visited on Wednesday and Dr. DeGrazia visited on Friday. In addition, we had a meet and greet with the new board members on Thursday. We appreciate all the support from our district leaders and board members. The Wildcats played basketball on Thursday against Rose City High School. They won the game and have been doing very well this year in all their athletic events. We are continuing to train the staff on restorative practices. Ms. Shabata joined the new cohort to learn about restorative practices and how to best utilize these practices at Wickham. 2 additional teachers have been trained in a previous cohort. Ladies' Night Out was on Friday. This is the PTSA's biggest fundraiser of the year. We hope to be able to raise funds to lower the cost of prom, as well as pay for testing snacks, Spirit Day activities, and staff appreciation lunches, to name a few items. We are grateful for PTSA and all they do for Wickham.
Thank you very much for that report. Any questions from the board members about that report? All right, thank you so much, Diego. Very good job. I will move to the next item, which is the comments from the member of the Board of Education. And tonight, I will start at my right with Trustee Munoz.
Thank you very much. Last week, I got to go visit some 3 schools: La Fetra, Sandburg, and Whitcomb. And got to go with some other board members here and Dr. Grazia and present proud to be GUSD awards to some outstanding teachers. And it was really great to meet and greet all the staff. Got to meet everyone, got to comment with different teachers and present these awards to these outstanding teachers. And it was really great to just go out and get involved, with the schools and meet all the teachers. It was fantastic. It was a great time. And, yeah, that's my comment for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Lopez.
Been a great winter season for the Tardens, so just good luck to our athletic teams from Glendora High School as they move into the playoffs this week and hopefully into next week. So that's it. Besides, it's open house season too, right? The open houses are starting, so good luck to all the schools with open house.
Thank you. Trustee Cam.
So I just want to echo what Trustee Munoz said. It was so wonderful to see our teachers and classified staff and all their hard work and recognize them. It's always so exciting to see people who work so hard get recognition and watch them get surprised and the excitement. Sandburg also had somebody from Nutritional Services Department, which was really exciting. So we actually got to give out 3 awards there. And I'm getting a chance to meet really wonderful people from all across the district. So Whitcomb, LaFetra, and Sandburg was a highlight for sure. Today I was able to do a site visit with LaFetra, which was wonderful. It was great to check in on some of the emergency preparedness that they were so prepared for and ready to go. It was great to see some of the assets that individual campus has. And there's a lot of just great things happening at our district that maybe people don't even recognize. I sat and I looked at all of these wonderful lunch benches sitting under this beautiful covered patio. And I thought, how great is it that these elementary school kids get to have lunch outside and enjoy kind of getting their wiggles out instead of sitting stiffly. It was such a great asset to that campus. And so it was really, really exciting to get to see all those good things. As far as ethnic studies, we really appreciate all the comments. We're working very diligently. Dr. Prince is working very diligently, and we understand as a board it's something that's really meaningful to a lot of people. So we're going to keep communicating and keep having lots of conversations about it and making sure that what we come to, maybe is not always the easiest conversations to have, but a better product ultimately. And I think everybody on the executive cabinet is really committed to that, which is awesome. So I'll kind of wrap up with that and call it a night for me.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Garcia.
First and foremost, I want to welcome our principals that are here tonight to give a presentation. I am looking forward to it. I also want to commend all the staff that's here to give moral support. Thank you for being here as well. And to our students from GHS that are over there in the back taking notes and getting extra credit, thank you for being here. Hopefully it'll be a short one. I do have maybe 3 shout outs. I'll keep it short. But first, the Ethics Bowl at Glendora High School. I am so absolutely proud of this group of kids who just did phenomenal this weekend at the Southern California Ethics Bowl competition hosted at Chapman University. I was getting frantic updates from a couple of parents that are my friends, and it was just so great to see that they beat out some pretty impressive schools. I mean, not that Glendora isn't impressive, but we're talking private schools that have incredible resources, and some of these kids, the Ethics Bowl is a class. It's not just an after-school club. It's an actual classroom, so they spend a lot of time preparing, and our students just killed it with an after-school club. So thank you to Mr. Hart for leading them in that way. I do want, hopefully our middle schoolers are watching. They are, right? Because I think I've heard from a lot of parents that they want this kind of stuff, Ethics Bowl, Science Bowl, and they don't know that it exists at the high school. So I wanted to give a shout out because I want them to know that good things are ahead for these kids, and they'll have many more opportunities at the high school to find things that kind of serve their interest. So congratulations again to this group of kids. Oh, and they're going to regionals next Saturday. It'll be via Zoom, I believe, and it'll be Saturday. And if they win that, then they go to national, which is amazing. My next shout out is going to be to the Whitcomb Ladies Night Out event. It was amazing. PTSA, as always, outdid themselves. There's a group of, older PTA people who continue to give back, and I appreciate them so much for continuing to serve our community. But more importantly, our leadership class at Whitcomb, who were dressed really nicely. Diego was there. He was our popcorn guy. It was so awesome to see him helping out. And he did great, and I kept an eye on him. I said, no popcorn on the floor, and he was so good. No popcorn on the floor. But all these kids, dressed up, and they served us, and they were so attentive, and it's their leadership class, so it's an opportunity for them to learn about the service industry in a very, relaxed environment. So I was very proud of them as well for being there. And my final shout out is going to be to Goddard. Congratulations on the Goddard versus Sandburg basketball game. It's one of my favorite events, and I wasn't able to attend. I was getting ready for the Whitcomb Ladies Night Out, so forgive me. But nonetheless, congratulations. That's a fun game, and it's always so great to see all the kids with their little friendly, competitive nature. And I think that's all I have. Looking forward to the presentations.
Thank you very much. Very quickly, I was excited to see while I was watching the Super Bowl and the news that came on with that, that there's a move afoot for a girls flag football varsity to be a nationwide sport. I think that's taking off like crazy. It was pretty exciting. I don't know if anybody else saw the clip, but even the clip was exciting. And I think there was actually some kind of challenge between the regular football players and the girls flag football. But I think this is something that's going to be moving very fast and very quick. And I know Glendora is in the middle of that. And we have a great place for them to play down at Pompeii. And I hope they're having fun. But I really look forward to that. I also wanted to say thank you to the executive cabinet, Dr. Osborne, Dr. Prince, and Jeanette Walzak. I work with them a lot during the week on some very important issues, and I really like the way the business office is taking the finances and the business part of this district into the next level, and the way the academic and the people responsible for our academics and responsible for our employees are handling that. It's very complex, but it's outstanding, and it's the best I've ever seen. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. And I wanted to tell all the people that came to speak for public comment tonight, thank you for coming, both the people that lived in town and the people out of town for their perspective. And I'm really looking forward to our presentations. I will close by saying I made a couple visits to our adult education class where they are making the tartan dog treats and the other things. And I just want to say that my heart goes out to the instructors and the teachers that teach that group of young adults, helping them get to their next level. I love spending time with them. I love the way they feel about the product, the dog treats that they're making. And I haven't met a dog that didn't like the dog treats yet. So I think that's a good sign. But I appreciate all that you guys are doing for those adult education. I think, is that the right nomenclature for that? Adult transition students. That's a tough job down there. And the times I've been visiting, they've been managing things that have been happening in the classroom and making sure the other students were working on their projects. And so I'm very appreciative and thankful that we have that resource here in Glendora. Okay, that being said, we will move on to the most important superintendent report, 4.3.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, distinguished guests. Believe it or not, next Friday marks the end of the second trimester of the school year. 2/3 of the school year will have been completed. Moves quickly, goes downhill from there, very quickly. Also today, to kick off Kindness Week, Glendora High School students were out and about around elementary school campuses, opening doors, welcoming students, welcoming parents, and I saw the 10 or 15 that were La Fetra when Dr. KM and I were meeting there, and they just had a great time. They got as much into it as the parents and the students did that were on the receiving end. So a special way great morning, great way to kick off the week. Ethics Bowl, I also wanted to call those students out. I wanted to name them, actually. The champions for the SoCal Ethics Bowl, Vito Clarizio, Andrew Cullen, Maggie de la Peza, Danielle Kern, and Ivy Spurrell. Congratulations to them. We wish them the best on the next round. As we do, all of the winter sports that you heard about, CIF, the boys basketball team hasn't lost. Before Christmas was their last loss. They've won 23 games in a row, I believe. They're into the CIF. The girls basketball team is into CIF. Everything's Wednesday night. Go see them and go support. Girls soccer, first time or second time ever in the history that they won their conference or league play. So, and girls wrestling, the wrestling team as well. They're doing special things as well. Girls water polo, was into the CIF playoffs as well, and they just lost in sudden death overtime at Upland with a nail biter last week. Coming soon, and I see two of our defending champions from last year. The Great Trivia Challenge is happening soon. And that is in support of the Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation. And last year was the first time we presented a team, and once you know it, two of the three that made up that team are here tonight, and we're looking to recruit them to come back and compete once again on March 7th, and no pressure, March 7th at 7 p.m. Also, a save the date. The Glendora Education Foundation has announced their annual fundraiser and silent auction, and it's going to be titled SIP in Support. That will be at 6 p.m. April 18th. Location will still be announced, coming soon. Dual language immersion. We're still looking for registrants for next year's class, especially native speakers. We have spots for some of our native speakers open and available. Kindergarten classes went really well this year, and we're looking forward to them moving up to first grade next year. You heard some remarks about our Proud to Be GUSD Awards. Our second round that we just completed last week was to Wickham, and the two honorees there were Shannon Momfeld and Claire Interlicia. And from Sandburg, we had three: Fabi Galvan from Nutrition Services, Candy Palmer, one of our outstanding special education assistants, and Cherie Richards, an English teacher. At La Fecha, Yahira Felix, an aide, and Tori Strobel, their speech language pathologist. And I need to enunciate that well because she's an SLP. It was fun, and we'll make one more round of visits in March to complete our awards for the year, and we'll do it again next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. DeGrazia. Any questions from the board from the executive cabinet while they're here? All right, we're going to move on to our weight of the night. The first one is a staff presentation, 5.1 Ethnic Studies Course Overview, presented by Dr. Prince and Principal Norrell and Vice Principal Lozano.
Sure. All right. So thank you to our Board of Education and Executive Cabinet for having us this evening. We will be giving you a presentation overviewing some background and process for the development of our Ethnic Studies course outline, which is set to begin as a pilot in the 25-26 school year, which is outlined under Assembly Bill 101, or AB 101, as you'll hear for the rest of this presentation. I want to acknowledge the hard work of my colleagues, Mrs. Norrell and Ms. Lozano. I was like, I know they're here. As well as the teacher experts on our curriculum development team, and the community members who are part of our community committee who provided the valuable feedback loop to our curriculum development team. And now I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Norrell to give some background knowledge.
Thank you. In 2021, AB 101 passed, creating an ethnic studies graduation requirement for all high school students. Oops, I didn't click, sorry. By the graduating class of 2030. The legislation states that students must participate in a minimum of a semester-long course covering 4 ethnic groups. The legislation states that the Board of Trustees must approve the course outline, which Ms. Lozano will review with you in just one moment. Next slide. Following the passage of AB 101 in 2021, we had 13 teacher volunteers who investigated possible curriculums. These teachers were comprised of social science and English teachers and covered all 3 educational levels of our district. After attending trainings at the Los Angeles County Office of Education, including a 3-day institute and individual trainings on each of the 4 ethnic groups outlined in legislation, our teachers began discussions on what this course would look like in the Glendora Unified School District. After the first of the year in 2024, the larger teacher committee became a more focused volunteer curriculum writing team. They took feedback and information from their 2 years of trainings and created a curriculum outline and sample lessons for our Glendora Unified Ethnic Studies course. These content experts fused their historical knowledge, information from trainings, and understandings of our students and our community to create the curriculum that Ms. Lozano will discuss with you in a moment.
So although not required in AB 101 or the model curriculum, it was recommended in the model curriculum to get input or feedback from administrators, teachers, parents, community members, and students during your process. So GUSD opted to form a community committee, which was comprised of 15 members, including community members, parents, a teacher, and a student. Due to outside obligations, 2 members did have to drop out during the process, leaving a committee of 13. And as we all know, life can be busy. So we didn't necessarily have 100% attendance at every meeting, but we had a good, solid representation at every meeting. You can see that 6 of the 13 members are GUSD parents, and 5 of those had students who will be involved as in this curriculum. It was a diverse group that represented multiple perspectives, background, and beliefs. So the community committee spent time learning AB 101 requirements as well as reviewing the model curriculum. We brought in LA County Office of Education, social sciences experts for training with the teachers and again with the committee. And the last few committee meetings have been previewing and providing feedback on the course description and the outline. Course description you saw in the catalog on the last board meeting, and then on the course outline you have before you. The group reviewed, annotated individually, discussed with partners, created posters, and participated in a carousel activity to add notes or clarifying question. That information from the posters was then shared with the teacher curriculum development team to review and discuss for revisions or edits. And now I will turn it over to Ms. Lozano, who will share more on the course outline. Would you like to give her some notes?
That'd be great. Thank you. So I will explain the units. The first 2 units of the course will focus on creating a safe and supportive environment in the classroom. As we welcome our new 9th grade students to campus, we want to continue building connections in the classroom as an extension of our Get On Board activities to the start of the year. Our goal is to keep them build a sense of belonging in the classroom so that they can understand who they are as an individual as they explore their own and unique history. Then units 3 to 6 in the outline will focus on the 4 foundational ethnic groups in AB 101. These groups are Native American / Indigenous people, Latino and Latina Americans, African Americans, and Asian American and Pacific Islanders. When teaching each of these foundational ethnic groups, the units are built in 4 core themes. The first one is identity. The second one, history and movement. Third, exploring economic, social, and political systems. And 4th, social movements and equity. The culmination of the studies of these 6 units will surely help all our students have a better understanding of the community and the society that we live in.
So in closing, parents or community members who would like to preview the course outline can call Educational Services to schedule an appointment. I have cleared my calendar for all but 1 hour that I could not clear on Friday, February 14th for them to come review the course overview with me. And I want to thank you all very much for your attention. If you have any immediate questions, we're happy to try and answer them. And will you also know where to find me should you think of questions later?
Thank you very much for that. That was a very good presentation. I will bring it back to the board for a moment and ask if there's any questions of the board for the people that made that presentation to us. Trustee Garcia.
Thank you for being here for your presentation. For the benefit of the group, can you tell me What were the 4 groups outlined in legislation? The various 4 groups. It says here, the training, you had 4 groups that were outlined in.
So that was our 4 groups. I'll let Ms. Lozano, since that was,
Yeah, the AB 101 listed Native American / indigenous people, Latino, Latina Americans, African Americans, Asian American, and Pacific Islanders. Now, that is not to say we're not gonna include any other groups. I think that will come in the first 2 units when the students have a chance to say who they are and talk about these 4 core units and discuss them as themselves and express themselves. Then we're hoping that all what our students are comprised of would then have the opportunity to express their background and culture at that moment.
Can you tell me why these 4 groups were outlined in legislation, more or less? Like, why these 4 groups?
I don't know.
we'll tag in here. These 4 groups were modeled in the legislation because they are typically considered to be underrepresented in education. So this was to try to provide more historical, because truly, as we look at this, it's a history class. It's history and social science teachers who are writing the curriculum. So it's bringing the history of these 4 underrepresented groups. And a lot of districts, you are able as a district, if you have another population in yours. So for example, Glendale has included an Armenian population. So as we work through our curriculum, as we do the pilot next year, if we find other groups that we feel like we really should add this, we can continue to do that. That's part of the beauty of the pilot year, is being able to continue to develop and refine as we go.
Okay, thank you. I wanted to say that out loud, and hopefully that'll help Mr. Lopez with one of his questions that he had with regards to the curriculum. Hopefully that brings some kind of resolution to that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Trustee Cam?
Thank you. Are there any requirements from the state as to who would be teaching this course? What kind of credential would be required? Is it social? I know you mentioned social science, but is there any requirements as to who would be teaching these courses?
There's actually, there's a few varieties, but we will be having it taught by a history social sciences teacher.
Okay. And I know we talked about the social-emotional learning that extends from the Get On Board. Are there any processes that would be triggered for any students that may be experiencing emotional distress as a part of going through the curriculum?
I don't think anything else. You know, we have so many systems already put into place with our wellness center, with our counseling staff on campus. So that would definitely, it's a part of every one of our classrooms. It would be no different.
Makes sense. Cool. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Just briefly, so the first 2 units, just kind of want to know, maybe you guys can answer this. AB 101, do they require all those specific topics that you guys listed, behavior, emotional, cognitive?
So that one, really, the first 2 units, I will do some research on exactly what parts of those are required and not required. Really, the purpose of the first 2 units was to build that positive culture connection, the safety. You can, as you sometimes talk about different cultures or different identities, sometimes you have to have a safe environment, just like any learning environment. So those first 2 units are really meant to build the background knowledge and the connected classroom, so they can get more in depth on the next 4.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Trustee Lopez? I just have. Trustee Garcia, go right ahead.
Is the pilot year a requirement?
So in AB 101, in the language, it is required to have a pilot course in place for the 25-26 school year, so that's this upcoming year. And then it is required for the graduates of 29-30 to actually have it, to have a valid diploma that meets California requirements.
So what happens if, God forbid, the curriculum doesn't get approved, the class doesn't get approved, and now we can't do the 25 pilot?
Technically, we're out of compliance if we're not doing that, depending on a variety of other factors that could be put in place. We don't know the exact repercussions at this time of being out of compliance with the pilot year. We know that with the 2930, the graduating class of 2030, if they do not complete the ethnic studies course, then they don't meet the California graduation requirements.
And how will this affect our students if they don't have the full 4 years to take advantage of this class and to meet that requirement before the 2930 graduation class?
So the 2930 class, this year is the pilot, so we can really refine. They would be freshmen in the 26-27 school year. The plan is to have it their freshman year for master scheduling purposes. And also because if you have a student transfer in, or if you have that gives you some leeway, if you schedule it their senior year, and heaven forbid somebody didn't pass it, or things like that, you're cutting it close. So really having it that freshman year and giving them the whole 4 years to make sure we are in compliance by 2030.
And then for the pilot year, it is only being offered in the summer, correct?
No, that would actually be offered during the school year
During the
as
school
well.
year as well?
Yes.
Great, and the summer? Summer, okay. Thank you so much.
If I remember correctly, there was another component, right? It was a 1 semester and there was another component for the second?
Yes, I will let Mrs. Norrell talk to you more about the other half of or Ms. Lozano, there we go.
So as we presented for the board calendar, the other half or the other component, we're gonna call it Smart Start. And that combines our best units of what we currently offer, which is our health class and our college and career planning class. So the teachers that are currently teaching that, they have met to kind of combine those and create the other half that will complement the semester of ethnic studies.
Okay, and then as far as this, looking at how this course implementation is looking, is there any understanding, this is probably a Dr. Prince question, I'm sorry. Not to, I'm sure you all have great information on this, but is there any, I know we'd spoken briefly about a lot of the districts are saying they're not going to implement until the way the legislative language said it was upon appropriation of funds from the governor. And because that has not happened yet, there are some districts that are opting out. Obviously, there's a lot of homework that they're going to be caught behind the curve. If he signs his pen, we're in trouble, right? So I really appreciate all the hard work you guys have been doing because we need to be prepared for when that happens. Is there any indication of when he would be signing for appropriation of funds for districts?
The indications we have from the from LACO and the CDE are that will be part of the May revise.
Okay, so in May, we should be able to figure that out.
That's what we're hearing.
And if that doesn't happen, are they talking about any extension as it pertains to the 29-30 school year?
You know, that has not been brought up. I can do some research on that and find out, but thus far they have said no, that they do expect it to be in there and we should expect to be in compliance.
Cool. So we'll look forward to that. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick things. This is where the rubber meets the road for our parents that are really an important part of this message. First off, I'm very happy that we have a community committee membership team, and I hope that we listened to one of the people tonight that had wanted to be kept in the loop, and it sounded like there was something about communications and some other things. So I hope you address those items that came up tonight in the public comment. For me personally, I really want the parents that are listening to us tonight to pay attention, read the curriculum, get involved, because that's what this forum is about. Look at that, and if you have any feedback, you guys know how to get a hold of us. What I'm interested in personally in this order isn't what LA County has to say or what the state has to say. I'm really interested in what my executive cabinet comes to me with, to say, we've done all this work, we've had the committee, we've listened to parents. This is Glendora Unified School District. It's not LA County Department of Education. Here's the model that we think fits our community, our school children, okay? And young adults. So in the order of, when you bring it back, at least for me, what your recommendation is, subordinated by what the committee members recommended to you, which may or may not be the same thing. And those are really the two components. I'm gonna measure the parent feedback I get, the committee members' hard work, and I'd like to to know what that looks like from either a vote or however they gave you their feedback. And then you're going to come to us, obviously, at a meeting, at a date certain, to say, okay, it's done. Here's what, because the last part, I think the most important part for me was that the Board of Trustees must approve the outline. So all the other white noise, at some point in time, 5 people are gonna have to agree that this is the curriculum that we think fits the district going forward, right? And the noise that, what people think we should do or what we have to do, I'm not nervous about all that stuff. What I really wanna get is that for our graduating seniors, if it's funded, for our graduating seniors of the 2030 class, get them what they need in this ethnic studies course based on our executive cabinet's expertise and the feedback they get. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you.
Real quick, sorry. Is there something that triggers the curriculum exiting committee? Like, is there a vote from the parent committee and the teacher committee? I imagine that they have a lot of input, but then where do we go from there?
They have a lot of input. It was recommended to be a feedback and input committee. So like I talked about process-wise, originally when we looked at, for example, the course description, everybody looked at those, annotated. I took all of that individually back to Ms. Lozano, who then shared it with our teacher curriculum expert team. And then on the most recent one, when we had the full outline, a little bit modified from the version you have in front of you due to their feedback. They looked at it individually, annotated, then they went into partners, had discussions, annotated, created a poster. I went full teacher mode, Dr. Cam. And they made posters, then they did a carousel activity where they each went around and reviewed the posters of others, put check marks if yes, this was something we also agreed with, added notes, clarifying questions. I then compiled that all, again, giving it to Ms. Lozano, who worked with the teacher curriculum expert team to do final revisions, and that's what you see before you.
So Ms. Lozano, as far as the teacher committee, we've heard from people from our community committee. Has there been any reflections or feedback that the teacher committee has provided that?
The teacher committee was very open to the feedback that I received back from the course outline that Dr. Prince had given me. And they went ahead and revised some of the terms that they had some concerns about and how to put it best forward and still be able to teach what they know from our students. They are our history teachers and they know our students best and they know how to create lessons, so we trust them completely in that sense.
Awesome.
All right, very good. All right, thank you very much. That concludes our first presentation. Now we get to hear from Sellers Elementary, presented by Mrs. Shonda Trent, the boss lady of this place.
Well, thank you. Good evening, President Clifford, board members, Dr. DeGrazia, and cabinet. I'm excited to share with you a little bit over the next few minutes why I am so proud to be a Viking. I'll tell you, Sellers is the place to be. And if you don't believe me, come on over and I'll show you. We believe so much in this message that we painted it on the wall in our office. We have staff sweatshirts that tell you the same, and we even painted it on our handball courts. I think that I speak for all of the staff, families, community members, students when I say that we love Sellers, and truly, truly, Sellers is the place to be. So over the next few moments, I'm going to explain to you some of the reasons why. Here you have a data snapshot of some of the school data that we have collected from the past few years. If you take a close look at some of our demographics, you're going to see that our overall enrollment, despite a small drop, has really maintained and remained the same. Our subgroups have remained very steady. Our chronic absenteeism rate has decreased, and we continue to work toward educating our parents on truancy, independent study procedures, and the importance of daily attendance. If you take a look at some of our state testing data, you will see that our ELA data is very strong. We are very strong in this area at Sellers. Math, we continue to achieve, but we did see a small dip in our 3rd and 4th grade math, so we are currently looking at measures to increase those scores, including in-class Tier 1 and Tier 2 support of upper grade levels. So overall, when you look at our students in the state indicators, the colors show that we've maintained or increased in all of our areas. We do have a few subgroups that we're paying attention to, including our students with disabilities. Something to note is that the students with disabilities subgroup struggles in both academics and chronic absenteeism. And I think a good strategy going forward to improve these scores is to pay close attention to our IEPs and behavior plans and make sure that those are being followed and understood. So here are just a few reasons why Sellers is the place to be. First off, I'd like to talk about our suspension rate. Our school has made a commitment to restorative practices, including peer mediation, community circles, and I feel like that's contributed to a significant decrease in suspension rates compared to last year. We are demonstrating the positive impact of prioritizing student support and conflict resolution over punitive measures. We've shown growth in our ELA percentages. Our focused literacy initiatives have driven sustained year-over-year growth in ELA achievement for 3rd and 4th graders, with 5th grade students showing promising momentum as they close the gap with their younger peers. Our math data. While our math performance has seen a slight decline, we're actively strengthening our mathematics program through targeted interventions, continuous refinement of instructional strategies to build positive momentum for student success. Data-driven instruction. Anytime that we meet on any student, whether it's a IST or an IEP, we start with the data. We start with looking at how are they doing on their benchmark testing? How are they doing on their state tests? How are they doing in the classroom when they're progressing towards the state standards? Everything that we do in our classrooms is driven by our data. Our teachers remain committed to data-driven decision-making, and we regularly analyze our student performance metrics to adjust instruction, target interventions, and maximize academic growth for all learners. Moving forward with student achievement, our strategic preparation for SBAC includes integrating interim assessments into daily instruction. This year, for the first time, we're going to implement a full day where we all practice taking an interim assessment, seeing what that looks like, so that when the students come to state testing time, it's not the first time they've seen the platform, it's not the first time that they've seen that subject matter. I'm also working with my teachers to incorporate that into some daily instruction time, where they're working through some of those interim assessments with their students, so again, that it's not a surprise come state testing time. So what makes Sellers so great? Well, one of the things is our strong community and parental involvement. Our parents raised over $70,000 just this school year, and we continue to raise the bar each year on the amount of money that we raise for our students. We have events like Great Artists, where parents come into the classroom and students learn about the great artists of the past. They have an opportunity to learn about those artists and then replicate their work through their own projects. We have PTA events. This Friday, we're going to have donuts with dear ones in the cafeteria, so come on over if you'd like a donut. We have amazing enrichment opportunities. Our MEG language classes have a waiting list so long we will never be able to empty it. Our students and families are so excited about learning Spanish and Mandarin that once those registration links open, we're usually full within a few hours. We have chess, where kids learn the strategic thinking skills needed to play chess. I don't play chess myself, so I'm blown away at how much they learn. And this culminates in a district-wide elementary tournament that I believe Yumi won last year. Did you win? I don't know, but I'm hoping we win this year. We have a robust student council, which I'll talk a little bit about in a moment, but which you already heard in my student board report. My student council, they're just such eager young leaders. They're so excited to see what they can do to make our school a better place. We have a dedicated and experienced staff. Every year, our staff members and our student council get together to raise funds for the City of Hope. A couple of years ago, well, my first year last year, we switched it to be Caps for Chris because our beloved Mrs. Vega, who lost her son, Chris Vega, to cancer, asked, could we dedicate that fundraiser to him? And so we did so. This year, we raised close to $2,000. Last year, I know we raised about the same. So our staff is dedicated in giving back. We are also connected to the community. As I said, my student council decided of their own accord. These kids just kind of came and said, hey, we really want to help the victims of the wildfires. And so they had a bake sale. And in a week's time, our community, our parents, our staff had gathered enough baked goods for them to raise almost $1,500 for those victims. Excellence in education. Sellers students are high achievers with teachers who care and foster their growth. And we've been voted the best elementary school in the San Gabriel Valley for multiple years in a row. So again, Sellers is the place to be. And so I decided to go around campus and ask students, why do you think Sellers is the place to be? So I have some quotes here from students. Eloise in the 4th grade said, we have the most caring staff. Capri in the 4th grade said, our teachers care about us. Ellie in TK said, I love my teacher. Charlize in TK said, school is important and my teacher is nice. And Callan in the 4th grade said, we have so many great activities and a great principal. And I didn't even pay him to say that. Our students have such a rich experience on our Sellers campus. There's so many things they can be involved in. At the end of each trimester, we have our Vikings Awards where they are recognized not only for academic achievement, but also good citizenship. Again, our student council is just robust and excited and ready to make our campus a better place to be. We have teachers who run community circles and build relationships in their classrooms. Our STEAM lab is successful. Our teachers, even the most hesitant, who said, oh, I don't know how to do this, are getting in there and they're getting those Legos out, and those students are learning. Even down to our youngest learners, our students are now learning how to code. We have our school garden, which is beautiful and amazing. You should come see it, especially here in a few months. We have parent volunteers that work really hard on that, but the students work in the garden as well. And at the end of the year, they get to reap what they sow by taking home the produce that they've grown in their classroom garden. And then we have a Big Buddy program. A lot of our older students will go into some of the younger student classrooms to read to them, do art projects, and it's just fun to watch the interaction between the older ones and the younger ones, where the older ones really take responsibility and realize that they're the role models for our youngest learners. Staff life. We truly, truly would not be the place to be without my amazing staff, and I have some staff members here in the audience. I feel teary when I talk about my staff, because last year when I was new, they just welcomed me with open arms, and we are really starting to build some momentum and build just an amazing environment full of love and laughter at Sellers. We laugh together, we've cried together, and they are the heart of what makes Sellers great. Our students and myself are better for having known them and being taught and loved by them. And in my slide, I included a picture of Becky Lindenmeyer holding a possum. So about a month ago, I arrived on campus in the morning and Bobby said, there's a possum in the lounge. And I said, oh, okay, what are we gonna do about that? He said, I'm gonna get a trap, don't worry about it, we got it. Well, about that time, Becky wanders in to make some copies and she says, oh, I got it. I said, what do you mean you got it? She goes, yeah, just give me a jacket or something. So if you've seen our Lost and Found, we have plenty of those laying around. So he grabbed a jacket, and within 2 minutes, Becky had caught the possum and was posing for this picture here. And truly, that's just the heart of any seller staff member. When they see a need, they just jump in, and they don't even ask questions sometimes. They just say, hey, give me a jacket, I'm catching a possum today. So really, honestly, that captures the true spirit of our staff at Sellers. Parent life. Again, our parents are so amazing. I have not been in a school thus far in my 17 years that had such a supportive community behind them. And my parents did something so amazing this past month that just blew me away. So we received word that we were going to be having a student come from Altadena who had been displaced by the fires. And some of the moms came and they said, what can we do? We want to make them feel welcome. We want to welcome them to the community. And within just a couple of days, they had gotten together thousands of dollars in gift cards to give to this family. Not only that, but they put a basket together for the student. His name is Nacho. Cute name, right? And before Nacho even came to campus, he was a Sellers Viking. He had a shirt, he had socks, he had a hoodie, a beanie. I mean, all of the Sellers gear that we sell, he had. And that was because of my parents. That was none of us. They just instantly heard, saw a need, and stepped in. And truly, that is just the heart of my parents at Sellers. So I've told you why Sellers is the place to be. So let me give you just a glimpse into our future, why Sellers is going to continue to be the place to be. We are going to maintain the successes that we've seen, and we're going to work on improvements in the areas in which we need to grow. We're going to continue to make Sellers the place to be. We're going to continue to increase our math scores. We're focusing on digging deep into the new math framework. I'd love to see us grow in the area of restorative practices and helping students to feel a sense of belonging. We're also going to continue using our Character Strong to further go down the path of social emotional learning in our classrooms. And we're going to continue to have campus-wide initiatives that make students feel a part of our school community. Thank you for letting me brag on my school for a few moments tonight. Are there any questions?
Thank you for that presentation, very much. And I really appreciate the fun fact sheet. Any questions for the,
See, I was assuming there were none.
yes, I'm sure there's gonna be a question or two. Any questions? Trustee Cam? Or Trustee Garcia, go ahead.
I have a question. Sorry. You're charting the path ahead. You had a beautiful list of things that you want to work on. What can we as your board do to support you in that mission?
I think just continuing to support our math intervention program is going to go a long way towards that. I know it's a fairly new program, and I think that that's going to help us target students who struggle with math. And then I also think just continuing to support our initiatives like the use of Character Strong, it will really be helpful in just helping us to continue to roll the ball forward on that.
I just wanted to congratulate you on a great presentation. And as a parent who's on campus almost every day, I feel all of these things. And so it's really impressive, all the stuff you're doing. I am frequently astonished at how quickly you've gotten the ball rolling coming in. And we really appreciate you as part of the community. I know my kids appreciate you as part of the community. And it's so good seeing you and seeing all the things that you guys are doing collectively as a staff. And I just wanted to say thank you and how much we appreciate it, because we do. The parents feel it, and we get to see it all, and we look forward to it, and I hear about it, and we play games about great artists, and we have a lot of fun. And so all those things are really impactful to, on top of the academic learning, just the overall feeling about learning. As elementary school sites, really you push more of an emotional feeling about what learning is that can carry students through their lifetime. And I'm really impressed to see that, at least in our home, and I know a lot of the other students that I know and families that I know, that continues with the work you guys are doing. And so I really appreciate that. So thanks.
Thank you.
Just briefly, so yes, I want to also thank you for your presentation. It was very thorough. And I know all the hard work you and your staff, the teachers, do for the kids. So I want to say appreciate that. I just had a question with the math intervention. Is it like one-on-one with students, or is it like a group of students that the math intervention program is?
So it's typically a small group of students who will either go to the math intervention classroom, or we have a few that have push-in support. So the teacher will teach the math lesson, and then one of our math aides will pull students back to a table and go over the lesson and help them on their work while the other students are working independently. So it's usually no more than 5 per group. We try to keep it fairly small so that we can really target those interventions.
Okay, how long has that intervention been in place?
This is our second year.
Second year, okay. All right, thank you. That's my last question.
It was a great presentation. I really enjoy hearing that. And then, with Trustee Kayem saying that they can feel it. They can feel what's happening on the campus. That's important for our parents. That's important for our kids. And it's important for the staff too, because, and as a leader, it sounds like you're visible. So the more visible a leader is, the better off you are on a campus. So appreciate your presentation tonight, and go Vikings.
Thank you.
Thank you, Principal Trent. I really appreciate it. As you know, I have an intimate relationship with a few of your students. I'm on campus here a couple times a week, and things topically look really good. I really appreciate the fun facts. I would really like you to focus on your math intervention. When I do my quick math, it looks like the mathematics scores are going down, the trend are. English scores look really good. And of the 6 subgroups we measured, looks like 4 of them are below the average. I'm not pleased with the mathematic numbers. I love everything about it, but I don't know if I understand them enough. But it looks like the grade 5 mathematics scores are lower than we would anticipate. And I'm really interested in helping you as a board member get the resources that you want to. If we put a line in the sand today and start changing that trend of the math scores to move upwards, I think that. Like I said, I feel the move, I feel the energy and all the enthusiasm on the campus. I would like to see it reflected in the mathematic scores. I don't understand the bottom right total CAS performance for all students, because it says grades 5, 8 in high school, but percentage-wise, more students have not met the standard than meet the standard there. And so I think I want to make a follow-up appointment with Dr. DeGrazia just to understand that 2023-24 CAS performance for all students at all of those grade levels, because I don't quite understand how that fits in all to Sellers, except for the grade 5 one. And then just pardon?
Is that 5, 8, and 11?
5, 8, it says 5, 8 and high school. I don't know. Oh, that's science?
Those are the science
It
scores.
says the cast, right?
Yeah, it says CAST.
Yeah.
That
That's
CAST
California
is the
Science.
California Science Test, and that's the science scores.
Right,
And
which
it's only tested at 5, 8, and 11.
correct. And I would just like to be able, I think, I don't know who said it, Trustee Cam or Trustee Garcia. I want to do everything I can to give you the resources to move those scores. That make sense?
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Nothing further from me.
Thank you.
All right, our next is Sutherland Elementary, presented by the principal, Kane.
Good evening.
Dr. DeGrazia, President Clifford, Board of Trustees, Cabinet members, and guests. I am truly honored to have the privilege of serving as the principal of Sutherland Elementary School. I would like to start by sharing a poem about our school. On this February evening, I share with pride the heart of our school where our cougars reside. 491 students, bright and full of cheer, 80 staff give it their all, teaching, leading, standing tall. Teachers are learners too, you'll see, growing together just like a tree. With MTSS, they lend a hand to help each child learn and understand. The intervention program's truly grand, offering students a steady stand. We work on equity every day so we all can shine in their own way. The Spanish DLI program's begun with kindergartners having fun. The first cohorts blazing a trail so wide, bilingual stars with boundless pride. Our PTA is one of a kind. Their events bring joy and cheer. Lunch on the lawn, sweets with special ones, moments of connection, and plenty of fun. Honesty, empathy, perseverance too, these are the values we all pursue. Chronic absenteeism's on the decline, down to 9.9, doing fine. Together we strive, together we grow, helping young scholars to shine and glow. With open hearts we aim to achieve, in every student we truly believe. I have to admit, I wrote that with the help of ChatGPT.
Perfect.
It's a good helper, yes. Okay. So moving into our data. So our first slide is a snapshot of our data and demographics for the 23-24 school year. Sutherland has experienced actually an increased enrollment in the past 2 years due to our TK enrollment and the start of our DLI pilot program. Since the 23-24 year, our enrollment has grown about 40 students from 455 to our current 491. So we're very excited about that. An analysis of our data over the past 3 years also shows a slight decline of students meeting or exceeding standard in the areas of ELA by about 3%, and in the area of math, also experiencing a slight decline of about 2%. So to make that more personable, that percentage reflects about 6 students who are not meeting standard compared to the year before. Something to note though is that both ELA and math students demonstrated typical growth compared to students with the same scores in the previous grade level, and this is true of all students in all subgroups. On this slide, I'd like to point you to the first line where it says all students. You will see that the areas for which we generated a color band are all green on top, indicating that overall all students are maintaining growth over time. The data does show an equity gap within our students with disabilities population. And an area of celebration is our socioeconomically disadvantaged students population, particularly in the area of math. In the area of chronic absenteeism, students with disabilities and socioeconomically disadvantaged were in the yellow. So this is an area of growth for us, and we do various things to address chronic absenteeism and improve positive attendance. One of the things that we do is our staff works together to first make sure students feel safe and welcome when they come to school. We also have monthly attendance recognition during our student assemblies and address attendance in parent meetings, such as school site council and ELAC, as well as during individual parent meetings. So what is the data saying? Some key points to take away from our data is first, like I said earlier, we are one of the few schools in the district that have shown an increase in enrollment over the past few years. Secondly, chronic absenteeism has declined significantly from 16.5% in the year 22-23 to 9.9% in the 23-24 school year. Next, as previously mentioned, our percentage of students meeting and exceeding standard declined slightly in ELA and math. However, we do continue to score above standard in both areas. And we address equity gaps by fostering an MTSS framework and ensuring good first instruction in the areas of academics, behavior, and social well-being. This is just one set of data that we look at to make instructional decisions for students, and it also informs us of patterns and trends. We also believe that it's about knowing the names of the students that these numbers represent. Each student presents unique needs that may make some of these areas more challenging to achieve. However, by knowing each student and family, we're able to provide more targeted and focused support in attendance, academics, as well as behavioral and social emotional support. So some glows and grows from the previous year, starting with the glows on the left column. Like I've mentioned, Dr. DeGrazia has mentioned, we successfully launched our Spanish DLI kindergarten class this fall, and we are preparing for our next cohort of kindergarten students for the 24-25 school year. Our students are thriving, and both groups of students, both native speakers and English-speaking students, are learning at a rapid rate based on measures such as high-frequency words, number sense, and kindergarten assessment data. We also have a robust intervention program, which consists of a full-time reading interventionist, a full-time math interventionist, and 2 half-time aides to support them. Our intervention provides a combination of pull-out and push-in services to our 1st through 5th grade students. And we engage families through various school events that are sponsored both by the school and the PTA, and you will get to see some of those pictures in one of the upcoming slides. And I think very important, maybe most importantly, since the beginning of the year, we have worked very hard to create a positive and warm climate at our school, and we pride ourselves in being a place where all students and staff feel safety and belonging. Some grows, areas for improvement as we look to the future. We continue to work together to improve academic achievement for all. One way we are doing this is by strengthening our Tier 1 or universal supports for all students, which is that triangle up there on the slide. This means ensuring that students are all receiving good first instruction and that classrooms have the supports and strategies in place to support a positive learning environment with high expectations for all students. We continue to acknowledge positive attendance. Last year we had an ice cream party for students whose attendance improved in the last trimester. This year we continue to acknowledge classes with the highest attendance each month during our student assemblies. And at the very bottom, teachers as leaders and learners. Teachers have participated in professional development throughout the year, sometimes led by their own colleagues. We recently participated in a restorative practices professional development, which challenged us to examine our practices, and we were given some tools to help create a more collaborative community of learners with our students. So again, one of the highlights of this year has been our dual immersion class. So as stated before, our students are thriving and excelling in content, language, and cultural awareness. The program's goal is to support bilingualism and biculturalism in our students. We're excited to extend this pilot program into its 2nd year this coming fall and are currently accepting applications for our next group of kindergarten students. Later this month, our current kindergarten DLI parents will be receiving a survey form so we can gather some parent feedback about their experience this year and to gather some input as we expand the program. Student life. So the reason why we do what we do is all about the students. And I have just a few pictures up there that highlight some of our student life on campus. If you happen to be on our campus on a buddy day, you'll see upper grade students and lower grade students working together on a variety of tasks. They have been seen reading together, completing art projects together, and even building Legos together in our STEAM lab. We recognize students during our monthly assemblies. We have our traditional student of the month, but we also recognize students who have demonstrated the character focus of the month. For example, this month is honesty. Something we started last year is recognizing English learners who have reclassified. Our librarian, Mrs. K, also passes out reading awards based on student progress on AR, Accelerated Reader, Collectively, as a school, our students have read almost 22 million words. We are grateful to GEF for our new STEAM lab. The STEAM lab houses our STEAM lessons for our upper grade students, art lessons for some of our classes, as well as science lessons that are aligned to our Amplified curriculum. I don't have a picture up there, but we also have a wellness room. We're fortunate to have a space that is still dedicated to the wellness room, which is run by our SSS, Miss L. It's a space that's used as just an open space for students during lunch, and also a space for servicing individual students as well as groups. And the picture on the bottom right is a class participating in community circles. We support our teachers with circles through collaboration with our SSS, professional development, as well as release time to observe other classrooms. Next, honoring the heart of our school, and truly the staff is the heart of our school, and I thank our staff who are here today to support. I get teary-eyed too because sometimes they make me cry. But here we are, the happiest school on earth. That's a picture of us during our August PD Day. And although happiness is not the end goal, I do believe that happiness is a byproduct of the work that we do together at Sutherland. We take the work of educating children and providing a safe and welcoming place for them seriously. In addition to what I've already shared about staff, we look forward to starting instructional rounds in an effort to build on our current successes and discuss as a staff where we would like to continue growing. There's so much I could say about my staff, the support they give to students and also to me as their principal, but I will sum up what our staff means to students with this quick illustration. So last week I actually led a community circle with one of our 5th grade classes, and my question to them was, tell your partner about a time when they felt appreciated or respected by someone at the school. One student bravely shared that the first time he sat down at the allergy table, Mr. Angel, the custodian, stopped to greet him. Another student shared that he felt appreciated by his 3rd grade teacher, Mrs. Herrera, because she made them feel welcomed every day, even when they made mistakes. Fostering meaningful partnerships, parent life. I truly believe that schools and students are more successful when there is true partnership with parents. We are so fortunate in Glendora Unified to have PTAs who are invested and dedicated to creating a vibrant school experience for our communities. Sutherland is fortunate to have had countless volunteers who serve on the board, sign up to volunteer for various events, as you can see up there, and continue to work together for the good of our students. One exciting addition this year is our first ever parent book club. We started last month. Miss Elle and I started with a small group of parents, and we will be meeting monthly for the remainder of the year, reading a book together. Future life of Sutherland, charting ahead. So where do we go from here? Well, the goal is that the plans, programs, and initiatives I've discussed today will lead to a positive impact on all students, and specifically that we'll see this impact in growth in our academic data, as well as an increase in favorable outcomes on LCAP surveys. Also, when I say data increasing on the bottom, increasing ELA and math CAS scores as well. Thank you to Superintendent DeGrazia, President Clifford, Board of Trustees, members of Cabinet and guests, and Sutherland staff for coming tonight, listening to our story, and allowing me to share just a little bit about our story with you today.
Thank you very much. It's always nice to hear from the happiest school on earth. I still have my T-shirt. People look at me like this, but it's very nice. Any questions for Principal Kang while she's up at the dais? Go ahead.
Thank you. I love these presentations, so thank you for being here. Same question I asked Mrs. Trent. What can we as a board do to support you in your goals?
Well, in thinking about our DLI program, one of the things we could use support with is just ongoing support from board and cabinet in the increase of our program. So the increase of our program includes increase of staffing, increase of qualified staff, teachers who hold proper certifications to teach in Spanish. So supporting the hiring of those teachers, and as well as instructional bilingual aides that could support the class. Something I think unique that happens as a byproduct of our dual program is that sometimes it can affect the other grade levels and classrooms. So we ask that the district continues to look at our enrollment so that the dual immersion is an additional class to our school and not replacing a class, or if that makes sense. So that's one area that I can think of moving forward.
Thank you. My second question is, in your glows and grows, you put teachers as leaders and learners in your grows side. And I'm curious as to why and what are the specific needs? You did mention while you were discussing that about professional development. And what specific professional development needs do your teachers have that you feel they can benefit from?
I think that could be a glow and a grow, teachers as leaders and learners. The reason I put it on the grow side is because one is because of our instructional rounds that we hope to start very soon. And also the work that teachers are doing with community circles. Ms. Trent mentioned, somebody mentioned about community circles, how some of our staff are starting to get trained. So it's sort of taken off just organically. So we also have about 5 or 6 teachers who have been officially trained through the district's partnership. But I know that more and more teachers are interested. So if that's something that can continue, I know many of our teachers would love to be part of future cohorts. We were fortunate to have one professional learning day together, all of our staff, and I received a lot of positive feedback on that. So the hope is that we're seeing more. I think if you notice some pictures of community circles, there was one of us in a circle as a staff, and there were a couple of classrooms in a circle. So we're seeing that more and more as a regular practice, but that's something we're kind of just getting started on. And instructional rounds, we've talked as a leadership team about what that would look like. We want to be learners ourselves as instructors. So what that would entail is really intentionally walking through classrooms together. So groups of teachers walking through classrooms, taking observations. It's not evaluative, it's not performance-based, but we want to take note of what's going really well at Sutherland, what our teachers doing well, what our students doing really well, but then have a discussion about where do we want to go forward as a staff together. And I see that as informing our instructional focus for the following school year.
I appreciate that, thank you. And then my final question for you is, what book are you guys reading for your book club?
It's called Raising Mediators.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a conflict resolution book. It's on the title, it has sibling references, but it's really meant for anyone who works with children. So it's a nonfiction book on giving parents tools to raise healthy mediators. And so we had a really great first discussion, and we already talked about future books for groups, so we're excited for that.
I appreciate that. The district did one a long time ago. It was the growth mindset.
Yeah.
We read it together. This was me as a parent, and I really enjoyed that. And so hopefully you're going to bring something that has, that maybe everybody else will copy you.
And thank you to Ms. L, because she's my partner in crime on that. So she actually facilitated the meeting.
That's awesome.
It was great to just learn, and the way we presented it to parents was that it's not us teaching you, we're here to learn together and grow together, so.
I love it. Thank you.
I love the dual language immersion program. It seems like it's really taking off and really an asset to the site. Do we know of the students that we have that are part of the DLI program, how many of them are from out of district and how many of them are from either other sites in our district or from Sutherland?
So Sarah might know the exact percentage, but most of our students are actually they're Sutherland students.
Okay.
So that was the impact I talked about a little bit earlier, is that it impacted the other kindergarten enrollment.
Sure.
So our plans for enrollment are a little bit different this year, but most of them are. We do have some students from outside district, not many, and there are a couple who are intra-district transfers from within Glendora.
Sounds good. Yeah, I have parents, finding me in the community and they're like, we love the dual language. I was like, oh, that's great. It's so good to hear. And I just wanted to report and reflect back that I got to do my first visit to Sutherland with you. And I had never been on that campus ever in all the years that I've been in Glendora. And it was so exciting. It was really great. It was a beautiful campus. I definitely felt very safe. I loved seeing the playgrounds and all the things. And as sometimes trivial as it seems, when you ask a third grader what's most important to them, it's play and getting out there and having a good time in that community. And your staff were so excited to be together and really got along wonderfully, which was awesome. So it's just from a brief perspective, I just wanted to commend you on the culture you've created there. It's really exciting. Cool.
Thank you.
Well, just briefly, I want to thank you too for this great report you did for Sutherland, and also thank you for your staff. When I visited the school, everyone was very welcoming, and I did enjoy the culture there. But just briefly, so I congratulate you on the dual language program. Looks like it's doing great, and I feel like any resources that we can help support that, we will. I'll definitely give you my support. But just regarding the declining in math, you said it was just about 6 students, right? Okay. What intervention does Sutherland do for the 6 students?
Specifically?
Yeah.
So we have math intervention, like the other elementary schools. We do have our math interventionist has an aide, so we have a combination of pulling students out in groups and pushing students in. Our intervention team for adults actually share one room, but it's pretty impressive. So I invite any of you to come by room 26. When all 4 of them are running their groups, it's very impressive. There's a lot of rigor happening in the classroom, in the intervention room, and they're all pulling groups, or the math intervention teacher sometimes is pushing in, which allows the teacher to, usually during her math rotations, she'll push in. That's one part of math intervention, but as a whole, also focusing on Tier 1. So what does our math instruction look like for all students, for the majority of our students? I feel that is really where we'll see impact. And we recently had a PD on the math framework, so really looking at what students are required to do and what they're being asked to do in mathematical reasoning, thinking, analyzing. And so even just since that PD, I've seen instruction shifting a little bit in our classrooms. We're all in our season of doing our teacher observations right now. So, I was sharing with Dr. Naharro that I was observing a teacher, and the week after, I think a few days after the PD, that's what she was doing. She was doing math. She was showing, it was a open-ended kind of math task, asking students to make sense of multiplying fractions. So, and giving them time to really work out the problem, and rather than teacher giving the algorithm and all the answers. So when you look at the math framework and the mathematical practices and where our students are not meeting standard, it's not the computation, it's not the operations. They know how to do the operations, they know how to calculate, but sometimes they don't understand the problem completely. So that's where we are putting our emphasis on. And Ms. Trent also mentioned interim assessments, so we talk about those too as a staff. And there's a variety of ways to use interim assessments. Students can definitely do the practice tests online. We've also talked about doing it as a whole class, just projecting sample problems together. How would you what's the first thing you would do to tackle this problem? So making it about problem solving and identifying the operations that they would need to perform in what order. So we have found that that is what gets kids. It's not the math, it's not the computing, it's really understanding what the question's asking.
Right, okay, all right. No, thank you very much for that.
Thank you for your presentation. It was awesome. And you said a lot of key words in your presentation. So, and I think it's important for people to know too, when we start talking about percentages, sometimes percentages are really skewed. And so when you said the number of students, it's 6 students. It's only 6 students. We can write that ship, right? Through the through the math intervention. Tier 1 interventions, the MTSS, you talked about knowing the student's name. Knowing the student's name, face, and story is so important of where they're coming from, what their background is, what they're doing on a daily basis. Can they do their homework? What's being provided for them at home, right? So knowing that name, face, and story is so important for our students to be able to achieve in the classroom. And I think another thing people don't realize is, I know it's 2025 and COVID's in the rearview mirror. However, when we came out of it in 2021, we were masked. And that year, it's hard for teachers to just say, okay, we're going to teach standards when kids go, I cannot, well, and teachers are going, can't stand this thing on my face, right? So how do you function throughout your day? And it was the same thing for a couple of years. And I'm hoping that you guys are feeling like now, this year, at least when I talked to the students at our school down in Fountain Valley, is this year's different, right? It just feels different. The kids seem, at least when I talk to them, they say they're happy. Hopefully we're experiencing that same thing in Glendora. That it's kind of, we're coming around now. We can get back to standards. And then you talked about best first instruction, which totally is tier 1. And that's having the staff all get together and talk about best first instruction. How do our classrooms feel from classroom to classroom? What is that like for a student as they journey across their day? And of course, the mathematical practices. Okay, that's the best, right? How do we get kids even talking about math? How do they know when they read a word problem, they even know what those words mean? So, being able to explain to them how that works. And instructional rounds, awesome. If you need a jumping off, point, you can talk to Mrs. Norrell at the high school. We started that back in 2012.
Yes, yes.
And it's been going strong for 13 years, and I can't tell you how valuable what it is for teachers to go out into classrooms and walk around and see what their colleagues are doing, because they just don't know. You know, they're doing what they do in their classroom, but to see what everybody else is doing, and you can focus on mathematical practices, or you can focus on depth of knowledge, or you can focus on whatever you want to instructionally, and there'll be great days. So looking forward to hearing about everything as you come back or as we talk more as a school board and with our executive board. So, but thank you for your presentation. Go Cougars.
Go Cougars.
Go Cougars, thank you. You guys answered many of my questions. And Paul, in business, that jumping off is like best practices. So in other words, you know, management goes to other sites and looks at the best practices and brings them back, and that sounds analogous to your jumping off. That's great. Principal Kang, outstanding work as always. I'm on that campus and in that arena, probably the most of between the high school and Sutherland. I share the same concerns that you talked about the mathematics, and my question, most of them were answered very quickly. It sounds like dual enrollment is outstanding, and we're so excited about it. The intent was that it was going to increase enrollment in the district, and I just want to, you don't have to answer the question today, but I'd like to know what you relate your increased enrollment to. It sounds like dual enrollment was very popular, and it did some moving around, but was there something specific about the region, a housing development, something different that you see? You don't have to answer that today, but when you're testing in mathematics on the subgroups, of the 7 subgroups you measured, 3 of them statistically met or exceeded the goal, and 4 of them didn't. So when you're doing math intervention, do you focus on the subgroups that don't meet the standard, or are you doing an equitable, all 7 subgroups get the same math intervention, or can you explain that to me?
How we select the students for intervention?
How do you focus, like not knowing the method, I would think that you focus on the 4 subgroups that aren't meeting the standard or above statistically and really focus on that. And that the ones that are meeting it have figured that out at that level, but that's a anecdotal approach to it. I wanted to know if that's how it works.
So we do look at various data points. So one thing we do look at is their previous CASP score.
Okay.
We also look at their current, so when they're coming back from summer, we look at their current STAR reports as well. And then we also ask teachers for input. Sometimes the data might not represent a student's ability. And so if the teacher feels, or vice versa, maybe they tested okay, but they're actually really struggling with concepts of math. So we take all of that into consideration to create groups. And then I meet at least once every trimester with our intervention team to look at growth over time for those students. Do students need to be exited for various reasons? Do students need to be invited into groups? So we do that every couple months with the team and I. But we do look at various things, and it usually, when we're looking at, once we form the groups, those are the students who haven't met standard based on the data you saw today.
So I'm hearing the criteria for that decision would truncate down to the students that aren't meeting that level, the criteria you use. So I would say of that population, 100% of them get considered for intervention, and maybe not 100% of the people that are, based on the criteria you just talked about, correct?
Yes.
I want to make sure that the largest population of the students that aren't meeting it are getting the
Yes.
intervention they need.
Most of the students
And want to
not-
help you get there if it
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah, most of the students not meeting standard are going to be in the group.
Okay.
And currently we have about 57 students who are receiving math intervention.
Okay, that's
That's
good.
about the same as for reading. And not that numbers indicates a, healthy intervention program, but they also, consistency is important. So our intervention teachers meet with students at least 4 times a week. So anything less than that we feel like is not really effective. So we want it to be consistent throughout the week as well.
Very, very well explained to me, thank you. My last question has to do with the science scores. I have an expectation, and tell me if it's a false expectation, that the collaboration between the Education Foundation and the district created the STEAM labs, is that correct? And you have one in your elementary school also, I think there's one at every elementary now, right? And is there some expectation, and again, I'm gonna wanna meet with Dr. DeGrazia, Dr. Prince, and Dr. Najarro, just to help me understand this soon. But is there some expectation that the effort and time that went into creating the STEAM labs, measuring the STEAM labs' efficacy will have an impact on the CAST performance for grade 5? Is there some expectation that those things are connected?
I don't know if the expectation has been, something that's been publicized or, made explicit to us. However, maybe now it has. But the expectation is that the STEAM labs are being utilized every day. And the way our STEAM, and I think this is how we are all running our STEAM labs, we have one STEAM teacher who goes to all of our elementary sites. So Amy Hogan is at our site 1 day a week. She goes to the other sites once a week. So she teaches dedicated STEAM lessons 1 day per week. And when she's not there, we have a STEAM technician, I think that's the proper name now, who's there every day at each of our sites. So she also has some knowledge of the kits and the lessons. So the way we have utilized our space is to have teachers sign up even when Ms. Hogan's not there. So when she's not there, they can still come in with the help of our STEAM technician. They're still able to participate in STEAM lessons. And something that we're seeing that's happening more frequently now is that teachers are working together as a grade level to have some of those science lessons. So STEAM is, one arm of it, but also the science that comes from our adopted curriculum, Amplify. They're working together to carve out space in the schedule so that, for example, if it's a second grade class, they would come back to back to do the same science lesson that's been prepped for them in the STEAM lab. And so they collaborate with Ms. Hogan as well as our STEAM technician to get those lessons done. One thing that's challenging for teachers is for science, the materials, the setup, the space. So the STEAM lab gives us the space to do that. And so that's happening more across the board at our school. So we hope to see that would positively impact our 5th grade CAST scores as well.
All right, because I asked that question, I think, at the ribbon cutting of a STEAM lab, and I don't think that went over very well when I asked the question. But what I was trying to say, how are we going to measure success? And because I think it's there, I'm very interested in helping you get more full-time, instead of having, which is a good concept, one teacher move around to all the things. If it's going to have a direct impact on the scores and we can figure that out through data, it would be good to focus those resources to give you more and that instructive expertise in STEAM. And if I'm hearing you say that other teachers fit in and help do that, that's a good thing. But that's where, as a board member, I've heard other board members say, I want to help you get the resources you need to develop those courses that have an impact on our scores to improve them in a positive fashion. So I'll spend personal time figuring out how to interpret these. I think I'm interpreting them right, but I just want to, I can use help because Paul's an expert at that, I am not. And so I want to understand how to interpret them, but I do think there's a correlation to the amount of intervention mathematic people get to raise a score. The English scores look great in all of them. And I think English is even tied into mathematics too, because if people are struggling with the English language, they may not understand the next mathematic concept. And then the correlation between the STEAM labs, the measuring the efficacy, and the scores on that test. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Thank you.
One thing makes total sense. One thing I would add to what I've seen happening in the STEAM room, which, sometimes you don't see the impact in data, but we mentioned buddies, and, we also have sometimes we'll have 2 classes coming in with to do a Lego lesson. So for example, a 4th grade class might be teaching a kindergarten class how to put something together. So those are the things we kind of see day to day that kind of improve the overall, even for that 1 or 2 students maybe in that kindergarten class who struggled all day or struggles every, it has had positive impact in those ways as well. So yes, I want to see improvement in data as the principal. We wait for the scores to come out and we hope that they improve. They're definitely important, but also, those day-to-day things that sometimes don't get captured by a number. Those are things that we've seen positively impacting our students. And I think, as Ms. Trent said too, there's more and more momentum. There was a little bit of unknown with the STEAM room at the beginning of the year, how it would be used, who would be in there, but as teachers are getting more familiar, there's a lot more usage in the room, which is really great too.
Well, I think in closing out what you said, I understand that people and students learn differently, and there's fancy words for those different learning things. I do know that I've heard fantastic stories about students that usually aren't engaged in science when they go into the STEAM lab, and one of those other students, those buddy students, are helping. They've kind of opened up, and I've heard a lot of success stories about more introverted or inclusive students being more open with their peers, and like a Lego lesson or Play-Doh lesson or something else like that. And I think that's good. I just want to be able to measure it, like and be able to take those great stories and show, like, oh my gosh, look at what it did. Everyone is at standard. That would be a fantastic story after having a year of STEAM labs, right?
Yeah.
That's all. Nothing further.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Our last presentation tonight on the school update is from Goddard Middle School, and Principal Zernikow is here with us with his assistant principal I see in the room. Yeah, more than that. Why don't you introduce your crew, sir?
All right, well, we have K-Dog, the assistant principal, Kristen Martinez. She's wonderful. We have Carol Bollinger here. We have Mrs. Lipson here, all the way from Fontana. So that's quite a commitment there. So really, really fired up by that. So good evening, esteemed school board members, Dr. DeGrazia, cabinet, colleagues, parents, and community members. It is an honor to stand before you as the principal of Goddard Middle School, a California Distinguished and Gold Ribbon school. At Goddard, we cultivate a culture of excellence, holding every student to high expectations, both academically and socially. Our goal is to shape well-rounded individuals who become future leaders and productive members of society. I am joined here by the wonderful assistant principal, Kristen Martinez. Her care and love for our school shows every day in the way she mentors our students and serves our staff. By the way, we both attended Goddard Middle School. Our exceptional team of educators are dedicated to student success through collaboration, data-driven instruction, and proven teaching strategies. They ensure our students receive a rigorous and engaging education by continuously refining lesson plans, developing common informative assessments, sharing best practices, and our teachers and counselors work diligently to meet student diverse needs. Goddard is more than just a school, it is a community committed to lifelong learning and achievement. Looking at our data, from year to year, we are always looking to continue our progress in state scores. This past year, we scored 68% as a school in ELA and over 60% as a school in math. Both are slight increases. I am happy to report, though, we finally broke the 60 barrier in math. We have seen small growth, but we're moving forward. Last year's sixth grade was at 68.2 standard met or exceeded in ELA, 64.4 standard met or exceeded in math. Last year's seventh grade was 68.5 standard met or exceeded in ELA, and 55.51 standard met or exceeded in math. This group increased in ELA from 67% to 69%, but decreased in math from 63 to 55%, an 8-point loss. We'll be trying something new for this group that I will share with you later. Last year's eighth grade was 66% standard met or exceeded, and 60% standard met or exceeded in math. At Goddard, we are more diverse than you think. Our student body represents a diverse range of ethnicities and languages enriching our school community. While Hispanic and white students make up the majority, we also have strong representation in Asian, multi-ethnic, Filipino, and Black students. We're happy to report that our diverse students are making progress in both ELA and math. Another tidbit of info is our students represent over 9 different languages, including Arabic, Mandarin, Chinese, Cantonese, Spanish, Vietnamese, and Indonesian, and French. We also have seen an increase in students requiring specialized support at Goddard. Our special education population has grown from 108 to 116 students this year. Additionally, we remain committed to supporting our English learners and our socially economic disadvantaged students through tailored academic interventions. At Goddard, we embrace this diversity and continue to provide equitable access to quality education for all. Slide 3. In 2024, our performance dashboard highlights strong academic achievements with green ratings in key areas such as chronic absenteeism, suspension rate, English language arts, and mathematics. Let's look a little bit more at our subgroups. English learners, yellow ratings in ELA and math. We've made progress of 17 points, but there still need to be continued language development support. By using Avid strategies and implementing newly purchased EL coursework, this will help our English learners. Social economically disadvantaged students, strong performance in ELA and math, both green, but continued work needs to be done in chronic absenteeism and suspension. SED students declined to 12.4, but we were at 22.6 last year. So that was a good decrease for us. And suspension rate stayed similar though. SED students were already at 6.2 and maintained the same from the previous year. Students with disabilities. We had mixed results with green for suspension rate, but yellow for chronic absenteeism, ELA, and math. While these students increased significantly in all measures, they did have a significant distance from standard to makeup already. Asian and multi-ethnic students, outstanding results, achieving blue ratings in ELA and math and green in chronic absenteeism and suspension. Hispanic and white students, green in ELA and mathematics, but Hispanic students received yellow in chronic absenteeism and suspension, while white students received orange in suspension, a slight increase from the previous year. Some of our key data highlights. Our chronic absenteeism decreased from 14% to 8.5. Our mathematics proficiency increased to 61.05, up from 59.12. That's why I celebrated the 60% thing. ELA proficiency saw a 0.6 increase, increasing to 68.03. English learners improved by 17.4 points in ELA, while socially economically disadvantaged students improved by 14.2 points. We're also showing progress in those subgroups as well. Moving forward, we will continue with targeted interventions to support students that are struggling with attendance through incentives like perfect attendance drawings, recognitions, and formal interventions like SART in the SART process. We also feel culture plays a big part in attendance. Our focus is to make students feel connected. Simple things like starting clubs last year have proven to be a positive addition to get students excited to come to school and be connected. Academically, we will continue to use our 3 intervention classes, the peer tutoring, homework club, English learner class, student recognitions, to support and encourage students to excel. Next up is Kristen Martinez, our awesome assistant principal, to talk about our people.
Thank you, Mr. Z. At Goddard, our people and programs make the difference. Our teachers and staff are not just highly skilled professionals, they are deeply invested in the success of our students. Their unwavering commitment to high expectations in academics and behavior fosters a supportive and enriching environment. Beyond the classroom, we offer a wide range of programs and activities. We start the year before school starts with our web program, Where Everybody Belongs. This is a mentorship program where our 8th grade students help bring in our 6th grade students throughout the year. They start with an orientation and they foster that relationship all year long, getting our 6th graders acclimated, oh my God, I can't say that. You know what I'm trying to say. Acclimated to campus. We have athletics on campus. We have track and cross country for all grade levels. We have flag football, volleyball, and basketball for our 7th and 8th graders. We have our Positive Vibes Initiative. This is where we recognize students with a positive phone call home. So Mr. Zernico started this year. This is where our staff can recognize students. So what they do is teachers, staff alike can send our administrators a little note about students, and they can either ask one of us to give them a call or their parents a call home, or they can give a call home themselves. And what started as something so simple, so small, that just takes a couple of seconds to recognize an individual student has grown and created such an impact on our school. So I am often out and about in our community with my own students, and I cannot tell you the countless amount of times I have seen parents come up to me specifically to thank me about the positive phone calls home. They cannot believe the number of students that our teachers see each day and the amount of time that they have taken to recognize their individual student for just the smallest amount of effort. Some parents have recognized that no teacher has ever even called home just to make a small little comment. So I had one parent in particular that she said that she couldn't believe how excited her daughter was to get this phone call home, that it just boosted her confidence. It made her so eager to come to school each and every day. So I'm so happy that we implemented this program and we can visibly see the impact on our students every day at school. We have our Student Voice Council. This is a student-led group contributing to school improvement projects around campus. We have student clubs with 9 active clubs, including our Taylor Swift Club, our Math Club, Spirit Club, and GSA. Students have opportunities to explore their interests, and we want all students to feel connected while they're at Goddard. We have the Goddard Way. This is a tradition of recognizing students, staff, and parents for their contributions to Goddard.
All right, let's talk about our staff and something you didn't know about Goddard. We have legacy. Goddard's legacy of excellence is deeply rooted in its people. Many of our teachers are former Goddard students, parents of current or former Goddard students, or have been teaching at the school for 20, 25, in some cases 30-plus years. Their long-standing dedication reinforces our school's strong sense of community and continuity. And Mrs. Martinez is back.
At Goddard Middle School, the students always do their best to follow the Goddard Way. This is a tradition of kindness, responsibility, and respect. We begin each day on our announcements with a simple reminder of our students to remember that this is the way. This is the way at Goddard. That can mean anything from putting their best effort forward in class to modeling exceptional behavior while out in the community. What makes a Goddard student so special is that they look out for each other. For example, if a student at Goddard finds a pair of AirPods on the ground at school, the first thing they do is they actually bring them to the office to turn them in. They know someone will be looking for them, and they would never think to take anything away from their peers. This is one of the small things that makes a Goddard student stand out. Student life at Goddard is busy. From academics to extracurriculars, we provide countless opportunities for students to grow, lead, and create lasting memories. Some opportunities we provide for our students include, but are not limited to, sports and fitness. We have our turkey trot during Thanksgiving time. We have our flag football teams, volleyball teams, basketball, cross country and track, and our color run to end the year. We have music on campus. We have a fabulous band, orchestra, and Allegro choir. We have amazing academics, and we have wonderful supports in place to encourage our students to do well. So we have honor roll trips at the end of the year, honor society that they can be a part of. We recognize countless students with our recognition lunches, and we have fun activities all year long, like our Constitutional Convention. We have clubs, and we foster a sense of community on campus. We have Artists in Action, our GSA, Christian Club, Spirit Club, Taylor Swift Club, Speech and Debate Club. We also have a strong connection to our sister city over in Mocha, Japan, and we honor our community with our Veterans Day Assembly each year. We have rallies and dances on campus. At our fall and spring rallies, we honor our sports teams, we honor our Student of the Month, our Goddard Way winners, we got our perfect attendance winners, and we just get our students pumped up to come to Goddard every single day. We have our Halloween dance, our Welcome Back dance, our Spring Night dance. We also have been taking the time each month to foster a sense of culture and community on campus, and we have been bringing awareness to each different diverse group on campus by educating and celebrating those diversities among us. With Club Rush and ASB-sponsored activities on campus, there's truly something for every student to get involved in and make their time at Goddard unforgettable.
Honoring the heart of Goddard. Our teachers and staff are the foundation of our success. Their passion, dedication, and high expectations create an environment where students are challenged and supported. This leads me to the way. Stepping in this year as a leader of the Titans, I was nervous. Would the staff continue to buy into me? I really do like yearly themes, though, kind of from my past. Would a theme seem too elementary? Would it even resonate? I was starting to second guess myself, so then I decided to go for it. Being a bit of a Star Wars nerd, I drew inspiration from The Mandalorian, a show that embodies loyalty, discipline, and doing what's right, no matter how hard it is. In the show, the Mandalorians live by a creed, this is the way. It represents an unwavering commitment to values, high expectation, and justice for all. And so I introduced This is the Way, the Goddard Way. What started as a simple idea quickly took a life of its own. The staff didn't just embrace it, they became it. Before long, my office is filled with Star Wars memorabilia, shirts were printed, and the phrase became part of our daily language. Even some of our conversations with students, we would ask students, is this the way? The answer was clear, our teachers believe in the way. They go all out to support every member of our team, holding themselves and their students to a higher standard. And me, I lean into the way, because this is the way. And thus, this is why a Goddard student will find a $20 bill in the middle of the quad and turn it in without thinking twice. Fabulous parent engagement. We are incredibly grateful for our PTA and parent community. Special thanks to our PTA president, Ms. Angela Pizarsiewicz, the school site council, ELAC, and the Glendora community for their generous support. We've raised over $60,000 with Gift Giving Tuesday in the last 3 years. Tens of thousands or more through Turkey Trot and Color Run fundraisers. Their contributions have enriched our school with educational tools, fitness and wellness resources, and library enhancements. Their support inspires us to strive for excellence every day. Looking ahead, we remain committed to continuous improvement and innovation. How do we do that? At Goddard, our instructional focus should always be literacy. Literacy skills are fundamental in every subject area, whether it's understanding math problems, following science experiments, or interpreting historical texts. Strong reading and writing abilities enhance comprehension and performance across all subject areas. While everyone strives to meet standards at 100%, our goal at Goddard is to reach 70% in both ELA and math and build from there. With similar growth, next year we should break 70% in meeting or exceeding standards in ELA. Math just broke the 60% barrier. This will take a little more time and effort to get there. How will we achieve this? We need to begin looking at leveraging our Tier 1 and our Tier 2 data to refine our focus. For example, in math, we currently have 2 intervention classes serving 30 students. Should we restructure these interventions based on ability? Would it be beneficial for one class to focus on fundamental computation skills while the other one emphasizes grade level concepts? Or do we group that class by student maturity level or grade level? Additionally, what roles can peer tutoring play through Math Buddies? We must continually evaluate the effectiveness of our MIT, which is our Math Institute for Titans, that's our intervention class name, to ensure they are supporting student success. We will also focus on spiral review. We don't really spend a lot of time after we do something and go back and revisit it. We have to make sure we continue to use it or you lose it. Now, circling back to the 7th grade math dip from last year. When we look at our test data from this year, we ask the teachers a question. What can we do to make sure we improve? Soon reports started coming back from the department chairs. Motivation seemed to be a trend, especially 8th grade motivation. Well, that's my wheelhouse. It starts with relationships. That's my focus. I'm trying to get kids to believe in themselves. Taking time as a staff to get to know each student, their story, administration meetings one-on-one with students in the hallways, even if it's only for a few minutes, talking about goals, or even writing a pledge. It makes a difference. Kids really do seek to please each and every one of us, but they need to know you care about them first. So by addressing these challenges and building on our successes, we will ensure that Goddard Middle School continues to be a beacon of excellence for years to come. Thank you for your time and support. Together, we'll continue to make Goddard a place where students thrive and excel. And Ms. Martinez and I would like to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you to you, Goddard alumni / executives. I appreciate that. Any questions? Go right ahead.
Thank you. That was wonderful. I miss Goddard. We've moved on from Goddard, and I miss it dearly. So it's exciting to hear all the new things you've implemented. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for our Titans. I love the MIT name. Where did I go? Then I saw, oh my gosh, I think it was at Cullen, where they named their intervention class this, very encouraging name instead of intervention. And words matter. So I appreciate the MIT title for the intervention class. It's great. Your goal of 70% for ELA and math, I love setting. With those high standards come high accountability. So I'm excited to see this. I know it takes time, but sometimes I feel we get a little comfortable with like 0.5%, 1%, and we just get really excited, which it is good. But I love how you're shooting for the stars. That might have to do something with your theme, I don't know. But I do appreciate that. And I think your Titans are going to step up to the challenge because I know they have the support of their principals and their teachers and their staff who also understand that accountability comes with that, right? And I know you're going to hold them accountable to that. I think that's really what I wanted to say, and also, of course, ask you the same question that I asked the other two principals. What can we do as a board to help you with these, goals that you have for our Titans?
Well, obviously, the first thing is I want to make sure that we keep our interventions in place so that we can get those students who are just near standard to above standard, so we can move those kids. And so I think there's a lot of kids that can make that jump. If you look at some of those kids where they're near standard, they might have missed one or two questions and they could have been brought over to the other side. So being able to just maybe intervene a little bit, we could move many kids. And so that's one thing I just want the support on, to continue having that intervention piece.
How many interventionists does Goddard have?
So we have basically 3 teachers that one of their periods is dedicated to being an intervention teacher. And so we have 3.
So you don't have like a individual like the elementary level. Okay, so the teachers are having theirs. Is it an additional period for them, or like do they now have 6 periods?
Their normal 5 period teaching day, so it's encompassed in their 5 periods.
In their 5, so it's not their 6th period. They're not adding a class. Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
No, I just want to comment and thank you for a thorough evaluation of Goddard. I believe in the way. I love that theme. And just like Monica said, any resource that we have, I love your high expectation. I saw the highlights in, breaking the 60% barrier for math. That's fantastic. We want to keep it going that way. And whatever we can do to help you. And you said that keeping the intervention MIT program, obviously we're 100% support of that. I'm all about academic excellence, and I love your enthusiasm, and just keep that up. Thank you.
Culture will drive learning, and you guys understand that, and you guys are getting after it, which I never thought you'd do anything different, right? Billy got after it when he was a tailback for the Tartans way back in the day. Obviously, you've looked at your claim data, and you've looked at your bands, where kids go to, how close were they to the next level? And that's important that you look at that, because kids, like you said, they may have missed 1 or 2 questions that would have got them to the next level. That also increased our test scores, which is, it's very, very simple, but a lot of people leave that alone. They don't look at it. And so it's good that you guys are looking at your claim data and you're looking at your band data too, because that'll take you a long way. And then just keep doing what you're doing. Keep that passion, keep that excitement. I love the way you guys came up and everybody did. And you guys got after it, because that's what it's about. You have to get after it every day when you're at school, right? And you got to be with kids, and you've just got to get kids excited about being back on campus. And we have great leaders, and we have great staff on all of our schools. So we just got to keep getting after it, man. And go Spartan. Oh wait, go Titans.
He told me he was gonna do that.
I was a Spartan back in the day, so Titans could never measure up back in the day. No, great job. Keep going. Keep doing what you're doing.
Trustee Cam?
I'll just kind of wrap up with saying how much I appreciate the presentation. Great job. And one of the things I think all of us kind of danced around tonight with all the different school sites. Some of you know that I'm a psychologist, and there was this big meta-analysis done trying to figure out which field or which form of psychology got the best outcomes for our patients. And after all of the data and all of the research, there wasn't a difference. It could be behavioral or psychoanalytic, it doesn't really matter. So they said, well, how do we figure out what it is that makes our patients succeed? And what the variable it came down to was unconditional positive regard. And if you have unconditional positive regard for your patient, they tend to do better. And that's what you're all kind of dancing around. If you really connect with your students and you have that positive, unconditional positive regard where they feel like you're connected to them, whether or not that's genuine or not, sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But it's important that every student feel like they're connected to the administrators and the teachers and our certificated employees. So I love the fact that all of you kind of touched in on that. whether it was knowing that it was 6 individual students or knowing the students' names or saying I'm actually making these connections with students as they're walking through the halls and having those one-on-ones, that allows you to make those big goals and allows you to be as successful as you guys have been. So congratulations for all that. And I love that it seems like a theme across all of our sites. You're really pinging in on what our students need, and I really appreciate that. So way to go, guys.
Thank you. Lots of great enthusiasm from all three presentations. Your data looks really good, and I appreciate everything you said. What I appreciated the most in all of the presentations was you all addressed the areas for improvement. And, you know, my topical look at this would be that out of your 8 subgroups, 5 of them did very well, and there's probably 2 that you could really focus on. And if you focus those interventionists, use more resources on those interventionists, I think there's 2 subgroups that are could be easily made over to get to the right level and help you attain your goals. At least that's my topical. You had some of the highest mathematic test scores in some of the other subgroups, so that's really good. When I'm on your campus, like the other campuses, I feel it. I attend the events there and go to the lunches, and there's a lot of good things happening. I'm very proud to be part of the board that puts you 2 in your role. And this is your first year, if it's my recollection, right?
Yes, sir.
And it seems like you're going in the right direction, so thank you to you all.
Thank you.
All right, I want to say I also feel like all those presentations were just a step up from last. They were just very good data, very good comments. So thank you again. We look forward to seeing you out in the field. The next items that come up are the approval of the consent items. Tonight it's 7-1 through 10-3 as presented. They will all be approved with 1 vote unless a board member chooses to pull any of those. May I have a motion to approve the consent tonight?
So moved.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Is there any discussion? That being said, all those in favor? Aye. Is there any opposition? Aye. The consent moves forward. That takes us to item 11. Item 11-1 is adjournment. It's 9:09. Oh, yes.
Can I say something really fast before? I
You
know
can-
everybody's gone now.
You can say whatever you want.
I wanted to say something when they were all here. No, I was just gonna, are we smart? Staff's leaving here at 9:15. Kids come and we do, recognition, whatever we do, the end of the meetings are getting later. If, I feel like our meetings are going 2.5 hours, not counting closed session. Would it be smart for us to agendize a vote in open session, maybe at the next board meeting or maybe in a couple, really think about it, maybe talk about it a little bit more, adjusting to a 6 o'clock start for our meetings? I mean, there are a lot of districts that do it at 6 o'clock, and I think it's for that very reason, is to get people home a little bit earlier to be with their families. And again, it comes back to that, your whole wellness system as a family, as a district, or you know, however that goes for people. Getting home maybe an hour earlier, right now it could be 8:15 instead of 9:15, and you're getting home, and everybody's got their little ones at home that they gotta get ready for the next day. Right, district people included, the district. So just a thought of mine, if that's something that, I don't know that we need to vote to agendize it, or we need to talk more about it, but just something that I wanted to put on our radar before.
I will support that to agendize that move if.
We could put that
So
on.
can
Yes, I think if
Yeah.
under the protocol of the scheduled board meetings that we already have, we've already voted on the schedule for the year. I would think that having a motion and a second to put it on the next agenda and to talk about it, I don't think we have to have a lot of discussion, but we would have to just present the fact that we've scheduled these meetings to start at 7. We think it's better to start at 6. I think there's a lot of good reasons, so we could have that agendized, bring it to our next meeting, and I would certainly, barring any evidence and testimony otherwise that I hear that night, support a move to start an hour earlier, that's for sure.
So do I have to just make a motion and
You've
then-
already done what you
Okay,
needed to do,
okay,
sir,
good,
thank you.
okay.
That
we've got a
will
second.
ask for community input, correct? Like
Yes,
For public comment.
sure, yes.
Thank you.
That would be, it'll be on the agenda, people could come in and say their piece, and then we would make a decision based on that evidence and testimony. Okay, anything else? Now then, that being said, it is 9:21, this meeting is adjourned.